Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our cares team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's happening today? We're talking about potential red flags and things to know related to H-1B and, of course, employment-based sponsorship. Now, of course, I'm here to answer any of your questions to the best of my ability. Okay, because there's a lot of information to share, right? So you might catch me off guard because your situation could be a bit complicated, and we're happy to answer your questions more thoroughly. Answer more questions thoroughly off the social media channels. All right, but in terms of today's topic, to start with, is about employment-based sponsorship. The currently going on right now in the first couple weeks of March up until March 22nd, there is a lottery. Okay, they don't call it a lottery anymore; they call it H-1B registration. But the result is a lottery because just because you register or through the company does not mean you're going to be selected. So it's a very unfortunate thing, especially when foreign nationals, immigrants pay thousands and thousands of dollars for schooling in America, and then, excuse me, not get selected through the H-1B. So there's other options. We're not going to be able to cover that thoroughly today, but the first thing you need to know is that you might be thinking, can I even be registered? Can a company register you if you are still in school? Yes, as long as you are about to graduate, you typically in May, right? You definitely have to have graduated before the end of June because if you get selected by the end of March, March 31st, you have to file the entire package, application, and evidence before the end of June. That is the deadline. Okay. Now, of course, if you don't get registered, you don't get selected in this registration period, then you don't have to file any package after that. But a lot of people who are still in school or about to graduate this spring may not know this, right? So just timing wise, it might be a little confusing there. So that was tip number one. Tip number two: if you're applying for master's exemption, meaning for the extra allotment of 20,000 visas because you have an advanced degree, that degree from master's degree has to be from the United States. Okay. So don't make that mistake or don't allow your company to make that mistake because you don't want to waste your time. Right. So if you're going to, um, the thing about that, the negative consequence is that if you register based on masters, but your master's from outside America, you can't turn back the clock. You can't say, "Oh, thanks for selecting me in this lottery. Can I switch it to bachelor's?" No, that's not how it works. You have to know this rule in advance. So that's what I'm sharing with you. Okay. So if you have a company that you is gonna, maybe you're working for them now in OPT, but you mention them, hey, what about H-1B? Can you take it to the next level for me, sponsor me? And they, ask you what degrees you have. Don't just willy-nilly just share what degrees you have because you don't want to make the assumption that the company knows what to do. I mean, I hope they have a lawyer, right? Immigration specific lawyer. But even then, you have to double check and make sure that, hey, by the way, I do let you know I do have a master's, but it's not from America. So please select bachelor's because a bachelor's degree does not have to be from the United States. That can be abroad. Okay. All right. So to recap, that's tip number two. All right. Tip number three um, is that you have to know this. If you're wondering, it could get a little awkward about money. Okay. About money. Because for us as a law firm at Ting Law Group, we prefer to help companies in a sense that really way in advance, even before they offer you a salary, like a position, offer you a job, right? Because when they offer you a job, they're going to tell you how much money they're going to pay you. So it can get a little awkward, right? Because if, let's say, they offer you $50,000 USD, and then after they speak with us or another law firm, and they mention, what we have to do preliminary is to research what is the possible prevailing wage. Prevailing wage is, I don't want to call it minimum wage because minimum wage is like, bottom dollar in that sense, but it's literally the minimum they have to pay you. Okay. Essentially. So maybe, let's say you're an engineering position in New York versus Texas. Of course, East Coast is going to be a higher prevailing wage than in Texas. Okay. So, some companies, HR, they just, they might see based on your experience and based on the job requirements. It depends on the budget, right? So it can get a little awkward. So you want to definitely, have a lawyer, an attorney to help you with that. Okay, especially if you're a company, if you're a startup, if you're entrepreneur, or you're in HR and you're listening to this, I highly recommend you contact us first before you actually send an offer. If anything, you could tell the applicant that, hey, we're going to prepare an offer, but stay tight for a day. Okay, so for us, we try to pump it out like within 24 hours. Give companies the proposal based on the government database. Okay, but we still end up having to submit a form, so we have to know a lot of information. We got to know the job requirements. We got to know it's not just a job title. We got to know the applicant's resume to even make sure the resume experience qualifies, because that is part of the package that we have to send later. I just would hate for someone to get, yeah, they did get registered. They did, and they also got selected, but then come to find out later after we file the package, and then USCIS denies it because they're like, this doesn't really match up that like appropriately. That would suck, right? Whereas you could have maybe, especially as the applicant, the employee, maybe you could have got sponsored by someone else. I mean, there's no guarantee. Look, there's no guarantee that if you got selected from registration from one company, that you could have been selected from another company. Okay. So the way USCIS works right this fiscal year, they call it 2025, even though we're in 2024. This is because you can't actually start working under H-1B if you do get selected. The earliest is October 1st, 2024, which is the fiscal year 2025. So anyway, yeah, I just want to be mindful of those three scenarios at the minimum. Okay. So that's why it's very important for us to share with you all these things so that maybe you could find company A is not as ideal situation than company B. And just because a company is like, yeah, 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 we'll sponsor you, we'll do all the things for you, blah, blah. But you really want to dig in, look at the job description. Do you even meet those qualifications? And also keep in mind, whatever they post online, like I'm not being sponsored, but let's say Indeed.com, usually HR companies pump up the requirements in a sense that it's higher than the minimum. It's usually their preferred qualification, not the minimum qualification. And the minimum is all that we need for you. Okay. All right. So that wraps it up in terms of the tips. Um, so if you're on LinkedIn watching this and you have any questions in the future, you're not on right now to ask questions, you're welcome to give us a call or fill out the quiz right up there, free visa quiz, and you should be redirected. Our team will call you to set up a meeting for you. Okay. All right. For now, I'm going to drop off from LinkedIn. And I think that works right there. Okay. So I'm now on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. How y'all doing? Let me answer some questions. The Real Blue. Yes, I am in Texas. We are located in Houston, Texas. I do have two. Team Law Group does have two Google profiles because I was formerly in Dallas. We also now have one in Houston for the last several years. So we do have a physical office, by the way, if you're ever wondering. We're not a virtual law firm. Several team members do work remotely because our leadership team, we're flexible, but we do have a physical office. You can visit us. Come down to Houston if you like. There's a lot of good grub over here. Um, Kern on YouTube. You would like to request expedite um, because if you want to, or can you request expedite if you want to get a green card to join the army? Um, I don't believe that would be a sufficient reason to get expedite because it's not it can't it's like a contract. You can't tie it in together. Like, hey, you get a green card, okay, now you got to commit to army. It's like two separate situations. So, um, but if you do want our expedite guide, that we don't charge anything to share that with you. For that, just text us or give us a call or go to our greencardguys.com website. You can answer a few questions. Um, but anyways, so that let's see. All right. Next question. Sam on TikTok. How long is perm taking these days? Depends what step you're actually talking about. Are you talking about the labor certification part of it? That part is minimum 8 months. Okay, and that's the step that's after advertising. All right, publishing the job essentially in the open market. But if you're talking about the entire process for employment based in general, for like at least EB2 or EB3, generally 2 years, and that doesn't count the visa bulletin. All right, especially if you're from China, India. All righty. All right. Let's see. Yasu Digital. What is the processing time of I-130? You filed last year in April. You haven't seen any progress. Well, who's your sponsor? Are you the sponsor? Who? What is the relationship? If it's immediate relative relationship, you're getting close. Especially if you file I-130 only and not a 485 because maybe you're not eligible to file 485, then yeah, it's generally at least 12 months, even if you're married to a U.S. citizen. Now, if you're married to a resident, that's generally 24 months. If it's another family preference category, let's say like your U.S. citizen sister or brother filed for you, it takes a hell of a long time. And there's no reason, at the end of the day, there's no reason. I know it's frustrating, right? But there's no reason for USCIS to process. We lawyers call it adjudicate, process I-130 any quickly or too quickly because you got a long wait time, especially for the family preference categories. All right. So hopefully that gives you some context. All right. 47 on TikTok. How long are case terminations taking right now? I think you're referring to immigration court. Um, we call it a two-step process. Number one, of course, short question has a longer answer, especially with a lawyer. Step number one for us is we request a joint for Department of Homeland Security, the government attorneys, to join our motion to dismiss. Okay. Usually they agree with us. Now, the timing of that, if someone responds to us or not from DHS, if it's an active case and the court hearing is coming up like in 1 to 2 weeks, they respond to us fairly quickly, like within 1 to 2 days, 1 to 3 days. Okay. But if it's a case that's a person has been order removed already, or it's admin closed, and so that the meaning there's no court hearing coming up anytime soon, then it's going to take a long time because it's not a priority. They're working on cases that are active, so it's really difficult to say for people. And we have some clients in this situation, um, and they're willing to at least try to see because the enforcement, not the yeah the what do you call the ICE enforcement memo says it includes people who are order removed. Okay, of course, it's not a guarantee for anyone, but Yeah, Department of Homeland Security, they need to get their act together to have a more efficient process. And even when this is my rant, I guess, for today. Hopefully, this is my only rant for today. But whatever process one city has for that local office, it's not the same process in like Dallas versus Houston, for example. And I know this because they literally told us private practitioners, lawyers, that they have a completely different process, just like the workflow is different. So it's super frustrating. But the general concept is the same in the sense that if you have an active case and you have a court hearing coming up soon, like 1 to 2 weeks, then they will respond to us sooner. It's like they're working backwards, or I won't say backwards, but they just need to have a dedicated person for other scenarios, like people who been ordered removed before or whatnot. That's just my opinion, but do they care about me? I don't know. All right, so next question. Hey, the real blue. Your wife has an interview in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. Do you recommend we travel out of the US for it? Well, you will have to. However, please, the real blue on TikTok, I encourage you. Well, I'm not going to ask you this. I don't know if you're going to answer, but do you? I don't know who's this. Your wife. Okay, your wife is the immigrant. Did she file a waiver? Okay, 601A waiver. Because if she did not, do not go to the interview. Um, I suspect that you want to go for moral support, but technically you don't have to go if you're the sponsor. But sometimes people don't know this. If a person such as your wife has been in the United States without legal status, or let's say for more than 180 days, and they have an interview, which most people is not 180 days, it's more than 365 days. Then if that person steps out of the U.S. just 1 foot outside the United States, that person will be subject to a 10-year bar. Now you could potentially she could potentially come back to US sooner, but the waivers these days, 601A, they take 4 years. Okay, so she definitely does not want to be outside US, or at least a 601, a different form, similar, takes about 2 years. But I suspect both of you don't want each other to be separated physically for 2 years plus. So I hope you're still on to hear this. I hope you have a waiver approved. Um, let's say you haven't filed one or she hasn't, then you can email CDAT Wars and let them know that you're going to file it. So please cancel the interview. Okay. If you want more information about this, please contact us. Now, if anyone is ever wondering how to get in contact with us, okay, the easy way, just send us a DM. Someone on my marketing team, my team will respond to you with our information, how to contact us. Otherwise, if you have a pen, go to greencardguys.com, click on contact us, and there's a little form where you just answer a few questions, and we make it as easy as possible. It'll redirect you to a calendar, and you can self schedule. You technically don't have to call in to schedule, but you can. You can call. We've got plenty of people working to love to chat with you to see how we can help you and put you in the right direction. All right. Someone said they just got approved yesterday. Let me go back down. Let's scroll down here. Thank you so much for the questions. I really appreciate your trust. Um, man, y'all have a lot of questions. Let me scroll down. Oh, there you go. Drip too hard. There we go. What's going on, boss? All right. So drip too hard says 485 was approved yesterday. Hallelujah. Congratulations to you. Now, how long will you receive the card? I think the approval notice actually says, if I recall, I should have this memorized. I think like 2 to 3 weeks. And that seems to be accurate. We've had some clients actually receive it like within a week, but there is definitely no guarantee of that. I know there was a time period last year that it was taking a while for a few people, but like more than a month for sure. But most people, it's like within 2 to 3 weeks. Congratulations to you, boss. All right. Let's see. Next question. I'm really trying to go in order so you don't have to copy and paste, because if you do that, that makes me think I answered your question already. I know it's It's strange, but it's because y'all have a lot of questions, and I thank you for that. And thanks for the follow. If you appreciate the way I share information, I just try to go straight to the point. No messing around. If you appreciate that, please give us a follow on your respective platforms and um, like or tap on your respective platform. Apparently, that helps the algorithm. I have no idea. Hey, appreciate the roses, by the way. Epic Boss and others. Was it Jasmine that did that? Okay, so let's see. Um, IC88 on TikTok. Hi, sir. Is there a guaranteed retrogression will happen for EB3? Oh, absolutely. It happens like usually a couple months every year, unfortunately. It's really strange because you would think the world superpower understands how to evaluate the flow of number of visas to issue. Um, Now I understand for like H-1B, people get registered, then they end up getting fired by the company or something happens. Um, so whoever didn't apply for that visa, well, I shouldn't do that quotations. I was gonna say another word, but if they didn't end up applying for H-1B before the end of June, then that sets up a round two for H-1B, I believe in July, between July and October. But anyway, for EB 2, 3, there's usually some kind of retrogression for a couple months out of the year. All right. All right. How soon do you get a response after filing for your green card? Well, Tammy, that's a million that's $1 million question that I wish I had the answer to, but based on case experience this year and 2023, the trend for a marriage-based case, so if your sponsor is a US citizen, not a resident, but US citizen spouse, then our average last year was roughly, without it being in front of my screen here, was about 3 to 6 months. We've had some at 2 months, which is pretty amazing. All right. So I'm not here to guarantee to you. I cannot guarantee that, oh, if you sign up with us, you allow us to help you, that we're going to get your green card in 2 months. But what I can guarantee is that our team process, all right, especially if you select our max plan, we have three service levels: light, pro, and max. We file your case in 90, 60, or 30 days. Okay. Is that I give my team bonuses. The leadership team gives bonuses to our team members to be able to file your case in X time, right? But it requires teamwork with you, collaboration with you, right? We ask you for evidence. You have to provide us that evidence, and we work together. Like if you don't have everything on our checklist, it's okay. Let's have a conversation. We allow you to self-schedule a meeting. We have one email. I was going to say it out loud, but I can't share it unless you actually become a client. So otherwise, we get a flood of emails, and I appreciate that trust. Um, but we try our best to respond in 24 hours, within 24 hours of a business day. Okay. Let's see here. Alrighty. Let me scroll back down. All right. Let me switch over here onto another platform. Sheldon on YouTube. If I was seeking asylum and a judge ordered dismiss, what's the next best step? Okay, so I know a lot of people are concerned, like, I got asylum pending and application pending, and I have a work permit, right? Does a work permit go away? Technically, no. Okay. However, there is a USCIS policy that was released, I believe, late last year, maybe October, if I recall correctly, that was stating instructions on what happens or what to do after a immigration judge dismisses your case. And so you have to file your prior application and receipt notice from before to a different office, and I believe that's Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so if you need those instructions, whether you want to do it on your own or not, or you need an asylum attorney this time around, contact us because we do have a short list that we take seriously. Um, You might not like their budget, or your budget might not meet their fees, but at least you have a trusted source here at greencardguys.tv that can help you out with that. Okay, maybe save you some time. And of course, if anyone that we refer to you, our team refers to you via Team Law Group, and you don't have a good experience, please let us know. We really believe that's important for us to know, because if they're jerks to you, I'm going to take them off our list. Okay. It's very important that we know this. And so, if time allows, I ask my team members to contact anyone that we referred someone to another lawyer, law firm. Just check in with that about that, because life is short. People shouldn't treat each other with disrespect. So even if you're not eligible for something, all right, we believe that's very important. Anyways, let me go to the next question. Okay, someone asked on YouTube, can you still apply for citizenship with a crime? I think that's what you're asking. Yes, you can, but it depends what type of crime and the elements of the crime. So that does require more thorough evaluation, not necessarily a typical strategy session that we have, because that takes more time, which we're happy to do, but it takes more time. So you gotta pay for it. All right, but yeah, in general, you can. Alrighty. Okay, next question here. Your nephew over 21 years old. Bernadette asked, you have a nephew over 21 years old, file a petition I-130. Your brother is a green card holder. If he would apply for U.S. citizenship, can we upgrade a petition? I'm trying to figure out the family tree, because you're the one asking on their behalf. But I say, yeah, your nephew filed for your brother as a green card holder. Okay. Um, so yeah, your nephew needs to become a U.S. citizen without a doubt. Okay. Without a doubt, your nephew needs to become a U.S. citizen. So I hope that helps answer your question there. Um, but let's see here. Yeah, you threw me off a bit, because are you saying your nephew has a petition for your brother as a green card holder? I don't think that's possible. Am I looking at this wrong? Anyone who's a U.S. I mean a permanent resident has to be a spouse, or the parent. Like if your brother was the one filing for your nephew. So that whatever petition you got on file might not actually be pending. If it's pending, it likely should be denied, because that relationship doesn't exist on paper. But you're welcome to contact us, okay, Bernadette? Or I mean, let's see. Okay, so back to here. I'm going to switch back and forth between platforms. How y'all doing today? Thanks, Epic Boss. If you're just now joining, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm John Ting, your host today. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe prevent that freaking problem from happening in the first place. So if you want content like this, information the way I'm sharing it, please give us a follow on your respective platform, and we greatly appreciate your follow. Okay, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Josane on TikTok. You haven't had a court case, or I guess a court date, since you applied for asylum December 2020. Okay. Do you actually know you have a court case? If you don't know, you can Google search EOIR, automated case information, and you can type in your alien number, and then it should pop up a result. Um, if you so this is for anyone, even if you know you have a court case but you want to know the most updated hearing date, I recommend you check every month, especially because some of y'all move and you may not have updated your new address with the court, which I highly recommend. Because, by the way, side note, if you if you end up getting order removed and it's end up being because you didn't update your address to the court, then we can't do anything legally. But if you actually did update the court your new address and that's where they mailed it to and that's your current address, then there's a possibility, we've done it before successfully, to reopen your case. Um, and you might wonder, that really happens? Like the court doesn't update you? Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes the court still mails it to the wrong address. It's like you may have heard stories like a police officer gives a ticket, like a traffic ticket citation, but then somehow still, even though they have your driver license or ID right in front of them, they still somehow write your name incorrectly. So it's kind of a similar concept. You can get that traffic ticket typically dismissed, as far as I understand. I don't do those. That was like my first year of practicing law, helping people out with that too. But no, we focus on immigration now. So, anyways, because we help people live and work in America legally. All right. So, yeah, I just feel bad for folks who didn't take the time to contact an attorney or at least research on your own how to update the court your address. So, if you move, really before you even update your family, you really should update your attorney if you have one, immigration attorney, or really any other attorney, and also the court, and or USCIS if you have an application on file with USCIS. And yeah, all right. Hey Mike, do I have videos on how to prepare for the interview in Juarez? We don't have videos specific to Juarez, but we do have videos in general for clients. I am trying to figure out how to share videos like that to non-clients, so I'll figure that out. Right, because I do have to give like a different benefit in a sense to clients versus non-clients. But um, yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Okay, thanks for asking. Hopefully, is your interview coming up soon? All right, let me scroll down here. How y'all doing today? All right. Let's see. Um, okay, Diamond Bash. It looks like okay. Wouldn't let me pin, but Diamond Bash on TikTok asks when the case is in Juarez Embassy. How long are they taking to give appointments? Okay, so each consulate or embassy doesn't give like a timeline in that sense, but generally it appears to be 6 months. Okay, in general, after you receive an email from National Visa Center saying that you've been documentarily qualified. If you have not received that email, then don't expect to receive an interview date yet or appointment. You need to upload certain documents on the ceac.state.gov website, the portal, essentially. All right, Queendom Tia. I don't know why it won't let me pin some comments or questions here right now, but how long for green card holders filing for um, you put SIN, maybe you mean children or son, duh, son. How long for green card holders filing for son under 21, unmarried in USA? So first of all, we have to look at the visa bulletin. All right, I'm looking at one of my computer screens monitors here, and you said they're not married, they're under 21, and you're a green card holder. Okay, so that is the F2A category. I also need to know which country of nationality. You said in USA, but unfortunately, can't your son cannot adjust status in the United States unless your son has a non-immigrant visa right now. And no, visitor visa is not going to count because as a short time frame, it's going to expire soon based on the I-94 authorized stay. Okay. So depending on the country of nationality, but in general, can someone adjust status in the US while being sponsored in a family preference? Yes, if you have maintained non-immigrant status, which most people have not. But the more common scenario is like if someone is maybe they got married to someone who has status and then is here on a student visa or J1 visa and it's still valid. Okay, so that's or any other non-immigrant visa, but that's the most common, it appears, or H1B. Okay, failure to maintain status is a common reason for denial in these scenarios. So talk to a lawyer. Why waste your fees for government fee if you could have prevented that filing? All right, let me switch back over here to YouTube. Do-do-do-do. Kern asked on YouTube, if you move to a different state while your 45 is still pending, would it delay your time frame for approval? I suspect it would, um, especially to a different state. But if you do move, as I mentioned earlier, you do need to I highly recommend updating USCIS so you get the proper notices in the mail. Because even though the trend for marriage cases still is having the interview waived, that doesn't mean yours is going to be automatically waived. So you could receive an interview notice, and you definitely want to know about it. Because if you don't show up, even though you didn't know about it, they're going to deny you. They're not going to give you like a grace period to say, okay, we're gonna wait on you, buddy. Um, so you definitely have to update. But yeah, I suspect it would delay your case if you're moving in general. Okay. Now, if you're moving within the same city or region, where within that region it goes the same local field office, then you're fine. But again, because yeah, there's not a set rule, but I suspect when you update them, your new address, it's gonna eventually move. You just don't want to. You just don't, or it might not move. It might just get stuck. So if you can prevent moving to a different state, in the meantime, if it's not urgent per se, I recommend holding tight. But I mean, it just depends, right? If you just filed your case and you got to move now, then just move. But if you're like 12 months in, and especially if your spouse is a citizen, maybe just hold tight for a couple months if you can. Again, this is just general information. I don't know if holding tight is gonna like affect you financially. So don't take my advice in that sense. But that's just my tidbit there, my 2 cents. All right. Palacios family, what's up? Should 45 be submitted at the same time as I-130? Well, it depends if you have a family preference situation, relationship, or your sponsor's a citizen. Okay, so I'm inferring that your sponsor is a citizen petitioning for non-status husband. So there's a lot of forms: I-130, 45, 765, 131, 864. There's a lot of forms, and G28 if you have an attorney. Okay, let's see. I don't think knowing the forms by itself is going to help you though, but that's the first step. Now, with that being said, because if you are a U.S. citizen, which is what you just put citizen, so I'm assuming U.S. citizen, then yes, you can file the 485 with the I-130 if your husband is in the United States, and if your husband entered, your non-status spouse entered with a visa. If your spouse who does not have status, who is what we call beneficiary, entered without a visa, eventually that spouse needs to file a waiver after the petition's approved. Unfortunately, I wish is where you can file both at the same time because that could save so much time, at least a year. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out a bit to get you started. All right, now let me switch back over to TikTok here. Thank you so much for your patience and thank you for your questions in general. Epic Boss, can you put your ITIN number on the forms and state that you do work? I don't I wouldn't put your ITIN number if the form when the forms ask for social. And then I don't know what you mean by state that you do work. Okay. There's no box on the forms that asks for IT number. So I just want to put it because that would confuse um, USAS and you later on. Okay. KV Spartan, you live in New York with your wife. More power to you to live in New York, especially if you're in the city. No, it's hard during the winter. I used to live in New York City during law school. Okay, your green card holder and her approved. I-130 got approved. How long does 45 take to be approved? Well, so you're the green card holder and you filed for your wife. So congratulations on the first step being approved. However, it seems like a recurring theme today. Is your wife here with status, a non-immigrant status? If so, um, she's fine with the 45 because you have to maintain status if you're since you're a residence card holder. Okay, but if she doesn't have status anymore, meaning she overstayed her visa, then you need to become a U.S. citizen, and because otherwise your 45 is going to get denied, or her 45. Okay, so if you found this a bit complicated, you definitely need to call us or schedule a meeting. Go to our website, greencardguys.com. Sorry, folks, I just tried to really summarize as short as possible for the purpose of these platforms, um, because lawyers can have a freaking long answer. Um, so I try to make it concise for y'all. All right, Toma, you filed 751 last year. Wonderful. You want to file N400 under a 3 year because you're about to be or you are a resident for 3 years. Should you wait on the 751 to be approved or decided, or just file N400? Okay, so this is the trick. Okay, that's legally allowed. Okay, even if your 751's been pending, you can go ahead and file N400 to become a U.S. citizen. Of course, if your timing is eligible, allows you to be eligible. However, don't expect that N400. You might get the N400 interview before your before the 751 decision. That's expected. However, you need to make sure a USCIS officer will have both files. Okay, not every office, field office, is digitized, digitized to where all the files are on their computer. Okay. Most still have a physical file. So if you go to when you go to Informed interview, don't get frustrated. I mean, we get frustrated, but we do update USAS to let them know we need both files together. Otherwise, everyone's wasting their time. And you definitely don't want to be denied on the N400 on accident, especially when you're ready to pay those fees. Okay. And it's going to set you back not just financially, but time wise again. And the whole purpose is save some time. So this is where Team Law Group comes in. Okay, we can help you out there. All right, all right. So let's see here. Cupcake. Your question is: if you have a boyfriend working in Saudi Arabia, how can you make him come over to U.S.? You're Filipino. Okay, so well, there's one fiance visa. Okay, since you're not married, you said BF. Fiance visa is one way. But the other way that's generally faster, I wouldn't say fast in the sense like going to be approved tomorrow or next week, is the marriage based pathway, consular processing. So, and you can, even though you're both Filipino or he is as well, he can still have the interview in a different country. We call that TCN, third country national. But generally, um, let's say in Saudi Arabia, they're going to prioritize, just like any other country, prioritize nationals of people from their own country in terms of interview dates. Um, so, so I would. That means your boyfriend's got to propose. Maybe he's online right now with you. So, Hopefully that gives you an idea. Good luck on that conversation. Any news that USCIS will process the 601A faster? No, unfortunately, they're not going to do it. We just got one approved last week. Good news. Um, that was at least 3 years. Okay. We've had several cases, waiver cases filed in 2021, I believe. Three, yeah, 2021, and it was approved in 3 years. Filed some in 2020 that was approved last year. So the general experience right now for us right now is it's taking 3 years, but online it shows 44.5 months, maybe a little bit less by now. All right, what's happening? Thanks for the follows, appreciate it, and stay tuned. If you follow us, then of course, what the way I understand it, you'll be able to receive more videos that we record. Um, Sorry to copy and paste your question, skip. Sorry, I didn't intend to skip, of course. All right, D. EB3 consular interview pending. Okay, so that means you had the interview already. You have DACA, but 3 days of ULP work due to a gap. Oh, maybe you mean pending, like you're waiting for it. Okay. Should you proceed? That's the type of question we definitely need to talk one on one with one of our attorneys. Okay, consultation. But I think I understand what you're saying. Um, we would just first need to verify the 3 days of ULP, right? Because if it's less than 180 days, 179 days or less, then technically, when you leave, eventually for the interview, there is no triggering of the bar, a 1 year bar or a 10-year bar, 3 year bar or 10-year bar. So, but we will want to verify that. Okay. And a company, your first steps for that D on TikTok, your several steps before that was done by your company lawyer, I suspect, right? And any step from now on, technically, the company lawyer does not have to help you with that. So check in with the company on that if you're not aware, because advice like this you would definitely need from your own lawyer. Thanks for the roses, appreciate it, y'all. All right, let me see if I skipped anyone else on accident. Do Enrique. Oh, it wouldn't let me pin it. Enrique, what can happen to you if they deny your I-360 while doing adjustment of status? Well, so I'm suspecting you're concerned about the facts of your I-360 application, whether it's VAWA or something else. Because yes, the I-360 is the stage per se of the application where they would possibly USCIS would possibly contest the facts or ask for more evidence. Because technically, during adjustment of status, they don't ask about, let's say, about the merits, the facts of the VAWA, the alleged violence, right? Um, but if you get denied, USCIS could refer you to immigration court, and then you could apply for VAWA cancellation removal through the court. But that's just speculation, right? That's a hypothetical. Um, I hope that you're confident in your case. Um, but if you have a situation, folks, if you have a situation where you filed your case already, more power to you. Congratulations, right? You got through to do that. And I'm happy for you because a lot of people contact us and then they drop off and they contact us a year later. Something happens in their situation. Maybe they got arrested, they got referred to immigration court, got detained, blah blah blah, or end up getting removed. And we're like, shoulda, woulda, coulda, should have filed your case a long time ago. But we do help also with people who have receive a request for evidence or notice of intent deny or denial letter. Do not wait until after 30 days pass and then contact a lawyer, especially us. Because if you get a denial letter and you want to try to appeal it, it's too late after 30 days. That's the deadline. And notice with intent deny has a 30-day deadline as well. So as soon as you get that letter, call your lawyer. Some of y'all have lawyers and you're following us here. And I appreciate your trust, but that's not a good sign, right? If like your own attorney is not sharing the type of information I'm sharing, that's not a good sign. So Again, I don't want to step on any other attorney's toes, but we believe to fulfill our mission to help you live and work in America legally, the more knowledge you have, the better you will be. Okay. So let's say in an example that you have a lawyer now, and for some reason they're like, it's going to cost X amount of dollars to help you. And you're like, well, I paid you already. Doesn't it cover it? Um, yeah, you could be frustrated, but take a look at your contract. Either way, we're happy to help you. We'll take a look at it. Please have your notice that you receive from the government ready to go. In our website, greencardguys.com, there's an option, like the second to last question, where you can upload those documents. We really, because we understand deadlines and how much time it takes to prepare, we don't want to waste time for you. So go ahead and upload it, because as soon as you upload it, I mean, not like 30 seconds later, but before the meeting, our team does the best we can to review it before the meeting. Okay. Taj, how difficult is it to obtain an H-1B? Um, it it doesn't matter if you got 3.0, 2.9, 4.0 GPA. It's a pure, as they call it, USCIS, it's a pure lottery. Or I'm sorry, they call it registration, but it's still technically a lottery. It's a random selection is what they claim. All right, y'all. Thanks for the follow. I apologize if I skipped anyone. Okay, unique. Oh, that's an interesting way of spelling it. Okay, how long after a 45 is put in queue for interview do you get the actual date? Yeah, eventually you'll get the date for interview if you get scheduled. If you don't get scheduled and they approve you anyway, congratulations. Um, early congrats, but it's hard to say because we've had cases approved in 2 months, 3 to 6 months on average. But traditionally, before 2023, for AOS adjustment of status 45, that was about 12 months. Okay, on average. Ali Khan, what do they check at the airport from by customs officers? Technically, CBP is the agency we call it, Custom Border and Protection Officers, from a green card holder. Okay, right. It's just because a different line. The main thing they look at is your criminal history or arrest history if you have one. So if you are a resident right now or you're about to become one, you still need to contact us to understand the ways to protect your status and maybe even avoid traveling because you might think, oh, I got the green card, I'm good to go. You might need to think a couple times. Okay. You might need to talk to a lawyer, immigration attorney, because certain crimes where you should not leave the United States, even as a resident holder. Thank you for asking. Jasmine and Geo, should you file 45? Should 45 be submitted or filed at the same time as I-130? Yes, if you're trying to speak too fast. If the beneficiary, foreign national, entered with a visa and the sponsor is a U.S. citizen, then yes. Because right now, if you are if the sponsor is a resident, then it's a there's a wait time based on priority date. So it's there's a similar question and answer that I answered earlier, but um, so it depends on your facts. The real goat. The real goat. Shoot, what was your question? Let me go down. Oh crap! Okay, man. Now I understand why y'all copy and paste because I was trying to scroll down and it's like it loses some of the comments. I don't know why. Does that do it to y'all if you go live before? Uh, so the real goat. Please copy and paste your question if you can find your own question. Let's see. Okay, let me go to someone else in the meantime. Let's scroll all the way down. Maybe you did it early. Let's see. Okay, sorry, folks. If I don't answer a question, please. Wow, there are really a lot of questions. Thank you. Well, at least you know I'm not a bot. It takes humans some time to answer questions. Okay, I can't find it. The goat. What are you the goat of, by the way? Oh, okay. Quick tip on taxes. If you're in the United States and you're the sponsor and your beneficiary is here, whether or not your spouse who you're filing for and you're married right now, I'm not a tax lawyer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a bookkeeper, but if you're married, don't check off single, okay? Because taxes are one of the best proof to show that you are showing to the world, especially to the US government, IRS, that you're married. Please trust me on this that marriage certificate alone is not enough. If you're married, do not check off single. And of course, you're wondering, especially if your significant or not significant other, your spouse technically is outside the United States. So of course, it may not likely not working for a company in the US, so not accruing income and doesn't have a social security number, then you need to file as married, filing separately. Because you file together, then of course going the system or whoever you hired to file your taxes is going to want your spouse's social security number, which they don't have. So that's just something to keep in mind, folks. Because when people contact us after the fact, we're like, you got to amend your taxes, and I would say it's a hassle, but it's a couple extra steps. Pranab on YouTube, thanks for your patience. How long does it take for a derivatives 485 to get approved after primary applicant's approval? There's no set timing. I've had that question before, but we've had scenarios where it's like about 30 days or less. I would say that's the average. And I know it's weird. You would think that they just approve it all at the same time. But again, the world's superpower is not actually that organized. I know some people will be confused, but that's the truth. Fatuma, your prior date is October 31st, 2016. Case category F2B. All right, let's check it out. Which country? Kenya? All right. You were DQ'd 2 years ago, a year and almost a year and a half ago. Okay. F2B. Let's check this out. 2016. Your prior date. Okay, so you got about a year. All right, because the prior date for all chargeable areas on chart A on this month, even though we're in March, the April bulletin has already been released. I think a couple days ago. So the visas being issued are before for your category F2B, November 22nd, 2015. So some people might get a little confused on the visa bulletin. They might think, well, I got this prior date, but I got DQ'd already. DQ'd is something different. DQ'd has to do about when you're gonna get the interview. Well, not when, but at least it's an indication that you're on to the next step, waiting for the interview date. Okay. Um, and even when your prior date reaches on this chart, that also does not necessarily mean you're gonna get the interview date like next week. What I do is I advise that you contact the consular embassy. Say, hey, by the way, my interview date, I'm DQ'd whatever day that was for you, December 22nd, 2022, and on the bulletin is current for me. All right. I highly recommend that because you never know when a freaking consulate, you do not want to assume an embassy or consulate is on top of your case for you. Okay. And if a year passes after your prior date reached on the bulletin, say sayonara. The visa will no longer be available. And who is responsible? It's not the US government. They don't give a flip. They got a lot of applications to process. So I really appreciate y'all being on the live and you ask questions, you call in. That's one of the examples, scenarios where we love to share information because man, especially with family preference, you wait all these years and then that 1 year you got so busy you didn't have a chance to check. You couldn't have someone else check for you, and you missed it. Some people call us about that they missed it, and the solution is to refile usually. Now, look, if it's been like maybe a month or two, and you missed it, um, we encourage to email the consul anyway and say that you qualify for exception. Um, but anyways, again, another long answer to a question. All right, hopefully that helps you out, Fatuma. All right, I'm at an hour mark and I have a team meeting. So I got to get to the team meeting that I got to lead. So I appreciate your time. I apologize. I was not able to answer all the questions. Thank you so much for your trust. If you're welcome to come back tomorrow. I think tomorrow I should be live. If I can't tomorrow at lunchtime Central, I'll try to do an evening when everyone's asleep. In the meantime, you're welcome to go to greencardguys.com. Again, my name is John Ting. Give us a follow and tap whichever platform you're on. Thank you so much. You'll have a wonderful day. Take care. Peace.